Welcome to today's version of the TFG Aftershow. Great show with Mike and Glenn this afternoon. Glad you can join us. As you know, we're going to do this every week. We're going to go a little deeper into different topics, concepts, maybe meeting people. Today, we're going to actually meet the most important Mike. So it's actually three Mikes today. Most important and one of the originals, okay? So this week we have Mike Lomas here, and Mike is a founding partner of the Financial Guys, along with Glenn Wiggle, of course. Founding partner in forming PEAK Brokerage Services. A founding partner, a lot of foundings in here. It means the guy's pretty smart. So, you know, regardless of what his wife and his kids say.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
He helped form TFG Insurance, TFG Home and Auto. He's also a founding partner and committee member of our RIA, a registered investment advisory firm, Independent Solutions.
I thought you founded TFG Home and Auto.
Actually, we'll get into that in another episode.
All right.
He stole it from me.
Oh, I did. Okay.
I've got a whole new marketing concept about home and auto. I'm going to launch it soon, but to just compete with this guy next to me, it's kind of an inside joke, but we'll make it a joke that we'll share soon enough. Anyway, Mike Lomas, he's also truly one of the most motivated and generous guys you'll ever meet. I don't know if that always comes across on our show, but today we're going to get a little bit of a better sense about Mike. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we wanted to start with, and we know a little bit of this, but just for our audience, the people who follow what we do, and the people that think like us, we always say, what was the TFG vision when you and Glenn started this whole thing? And, you know, has it gotten like way bigger? Has it met your expectations? Has it exceeded your expectations?
So I always say, I'll be honest, I never think about meeting expectations. When we originally started it, it was all about being independent, right? So it was to be able to give our clients the best tools available. And that wasn't happening 20-something years ago. You know, when you worked at a financial planning firm, many of them started to push their own products and their own agenda. And we saw the writing on the wall that's not going to be the best for the client. And, you know, the way for us to build a big practice is to get referrals. And the best way we're going to get referrals is to have the number one tools available for our clients. So the goal originally was to say, we're just going to go where we think the tools are the best for our clients. That was being independent. And we saw the writing on the wall 20-something years ago. Now, technology has caught up where being independent isn't such a big deal, but back then it really was. And so, you know, we sort of crawled over the wall, and we were one of the first in Western New York to open up an independent financial planning firm where we had access to all these tools, but nobody was telling us you have to use a specific tool.
So again, I've heard some of these stories, but you have to share, back when you first started, the whole origination of the Mike and Glenn partnership, you literally would work 18 to 20 hours a day. And that's not an exaggeration, like literally 7 days a week.
Yeah, no,
Tell us a little bit about your motivations to do that.
I lived on coffee, lots of it. Since then I've quit. So now I'm on, for those of you watching on live, I'm on tea. I quit coffee because I would literally drink so much coffee. And actually at one point, this is not good, I was taking these energy pills. That's when energy pills just became new, and you know, I thought, well, energy pills, no problem. I don't have to sleep at night. This is great. So that's what I did, and I didn't sleep, but we really worked extremely hard. I met Glenn, and we worked at a small financial planning firm out of college, and to be quite honest with you, we didn't trust them. I was 20-something years old. I didn't think they knew what was going on. Glenn, they'd always say, go to Glenn. He knew all the answers. So I didn't really know Glenn, and I said, Glenn, I'm leaving this place. We need a much broader education, and we need to be able to take this stuff to the next level, and I want to partner up with you. And he said, okay. And we left, and 20-something years later, it's been awesome. But that's how we started, and it was just a ton of work. And I think that's why we talk so much about politics, where politics meets money, partly because we understand long-term that's going to drive the stock market, but we're also business owners, and we know how hard it is to survive. And it's frustrating when you see the left say, well, we want more of your money. I heard dirtbag Joe Biden say this week that he wants to increase taxes on people that make more than $400,000. It just so happens I looked at his salary and it's $400,000.
On the dot.
And dirtbag Obama did the same thing when he was in office. When he got in office, his salary was $250, and miraculously he wanted to increase taxes on everybody that made more than $250, right? But I know what it takes to get to that level, and it's a lot of work. It's just tons and tons of work, right? And risk. That's the other thing. You got to take lots of risk, and it's not. You can work. I had a buddy of mine in college tell me that. He said, we were comparing, different relatives that we had, and he said, you can work your butt off, But if you're not taking risk, you're going to work your butt off for somebody else. So
yeah. I also want to bring up the idea of chemistry with a partner, because we see partnerships fail all the time.
Yep.
Has it always been perfect? Give us a sense of how you and Glenn.
I have been. Glenn
you've had to.
Glenn certainly has not been.
You've had to.
Yeah,
you've had to drag Glenn along on some of the.
I think it's funny because now that the business is bigger, well, over time too, you become more like brothers, and you become But it's we've had our share of fights and arguments, and I think in the beginning, it's especially in the beginning when you're desperate. People say, well, you said this before. Did you see it getting this big? And the answer is, I didn't see anything. We just wanted to survive. That's the truth. We didn't put a game plan down to say, okay, we're going to build a firm and have 70 brokers and 80 different offices and all this stuff. It was, how do we live? How do we survive? And so I remember in the beginning when we were, money wasn't coming in and clients weren't coming in, and we were trying to do all this stuff. There was a lot of some tension there, but we made it through it. And it's like a marriage, right? I mean, I every once in a while somebody will say, oh, I never fight with my spouse. I'm like, holy cow, how does that work?
That's just a downright lie. Let's face it. That's not true.
Yeah, no. But certainly over time, it's been the biggest blessing in our lives, right? Each other. So
when did you and Glenn start to see this now, though? How long ago was that? Like this now vision that we have at our firm here?
I think part of it was understanding that clients needed stuff, just like the independents. We recognized that there was a much bigger picture when it comes to financial planning than just stocks and bonds.
Right.
And I think that's a mistake a lot of investment firms make, is they get so focused on just stocks and bonds, but they miss Social Security as an example, right? That's what 30 to 40% of people's income oftentimes in retirement, and you have 98% of financial planners that know nothing about it. That's crazy.
Right.
And so it was, number one, a need. Number two was, as the firm started to grow, we recognized that, and the radio show started to grow, we recognized that so many people were listening to a radio show, but yet a small portion of those folks were calling in. Right. And so to be honest with you, from a marketing standpoint, we said, wait a minute, we need to be able to offer them more stuff. So, and really, and I've said this for a long time, a lot of folks are very lazy. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there to be able to grow. We've seen that with home and auto, right? I mean, now you've worked your butt off to be able to grow that division up. And the fact of the matter is 99% of people are just not willing to work that hard. They're just not. Right. And so if you're willing to work hard, it's pretty easy to get ahead.
Yep.
I know early on when I came into this business, I think I was licensed officially in 2011, and I said, what am I going to do to differentiate myself? I've got rock stars Mike Lomas and Glenn Wiggle, clearly really good at what they do. They already had developed a smaller team than we have right now. And I said, what am I going to do to be a specialist? I have to differentiate myself.
Yep.
And I remember developing a few things, some ideas, and I was reluctant to share because I thought, oh my gosh, like what if others out there in the world in our area are going to steal things? And you said that. You go, don't worry. There's just so many lazy people. They can get their hands on it. You could tell them exactly what to do. They're not going to do it. Yeah. So I love our group because it's just a highly motivated group. We all can do the things we love to do. We're good at these certain things, like a certain skill set. And I don't have to pretend to be a home and auto expert. I don't have to pretend to be an attorney.
Yeah.
And
think about the misfits that just voted in Joe Biden, right? I mean, look at them, right? They're there. They have no desire, most of those people, to actually go out and do anything with their lives, right? Yep. The good news is that if we're willing to do that, then there's all kinds of money to be made out there, and there'll be more. So when Joe Biden and Obama gets elected, the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. That's just the way it's going to work, right? It's always worked that way. It will continue to work that way.
Yeah.
Sad.
Are there any divisions, departments, voids that you see right now that you see TFG being able to fill in the future?
Home and auto, right? That's what you've talked about.
Well, if we have to get
I'm fired.
Mike can review policy, save people money with 25 different companies, but he can only do it in 14 minutes. And you said you could do it in 30. So.
But he is trying hard. He just
my effort is there. My effort
he's
is
got good effort.
I
second car in the parking lot every day behind Jay Blanchard. All right.
I think one of the big departments we'll see more of is, we've helped a lot of people with real estate, meaning that they've had a lot of appreciation in real estate, don't want to pay the taxes on it, don't want to get crushed because it's going to hurt everything else, and we've been able to help them exchange it into other real estate programs. I think you'll see more of that, as time goes on. You're starting to see more and more people, try to shelter assets from the government, real estate being one of them. So I think you'll see more of that, and I think you'll see our estate planning department continue to grow, meaning more in-house attorneys that are available for people to get help.
Mm-hmm.
We've joked about TFG travel to get people out of New York. That's
absolutely.
Or the moving company.
Let's get feedback. I want to get feedback from our audience. Email us or contact us. What do you think about TFG travel? We will find the most conservative places for you to visit, the least restrictive places, the places that you don't have to wear a mask everywhere. Let us know. We'll take some of your ideas.
Yeah, because I want to move there too.
I do want to bring something up, though. I know we're seeing a mass exodus out of New York State, no doubt about it. But I have a lot of clients who say, Mike, as much as we don't like where the direction of New York State is going, mostly because of Emperor Cuomo, we can't leave. We've got parents here. We have family members here. We have grandchildren here. Nobody's leaving. A lot of them they have deep roots. Yeah. What do you say to people who are just, they're also as frustrated as we are, and they'll never ever be able to leave this area? How do you have them bear it? How do you?
I think here's what you do. You get involved and fight. And I think people don't do enough of that, me included. And I say that, and we're on the radio every week fighting. But I live in Alma, and I'm realizing that even some of these town school boards, some of these small towns, even though they're conservative thinking people in the town, the folks that are running for office are the liberals. And you wonder how in the world did they mess this town up? Mm-hmm. And you realize, well, nobody really got involved on a local level. The towns, the states have a lot more power than people think. And you look at people leaving now to Florida. They're not leaving to Florida for the weather. Some people are, but a lot of those people are leaving because they're sick and tired of being told you have to wear a mask and a diaper on your face in your living room. They're sick and tired of paying an extra 10% of their income to New York State and seeing nothing for it as the SAT scores go way and way down. They're sick and tired of paying all these extra, fees on and regulation taxes and everything. And then they look outside their front window and their road sucks. So they're leaving. And but I would tell you, the people that are here and the people that have even left continue to fight. I mean, we've got a lot of clients that have moved to Florida, and they're still helping to fight back here because they understand the importance of all that.
No doubt.
I've told you every week I've had a new client this past month and a half. Every week, at least one to say, I sold my house. I'm out of here.
Well, the tough part is that the more people that leave like that, the harder it is to fight, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at the east side of Buffalo, and those people left. They voted with their feet. And unfortunately, what's left there now is Democrats running crack houses.
Right.
And that's what you get.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to switch gears for a second, I know a lot of things in the news lately. We were talking about Dave Portnoy, GameStop.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's jump to the markets because that's a hot topic.
Well, I think that's really bigger than people think. That the GameStop stuff, what's happening is you've got hedge funds that have been shorting stocks and really influencing the market, right? Like if we have a company and it's not doing well and a hedge fund managers all get involved and want to short us, they can crush us, right? Mm-hmm. And the way they do it is they leverage money. So GameStop was 140% short, which means there was 140% of people out of every 100 that were borrowing money to short the stock, push it down, right? And a bunch of very sophisticated, this is the misconception is this is some bluehead kid who was playing a video game and he goes over and trades. These are very sophisticated traders now that have the ability to trade from their laptop. They're managing a lot of money, and to be honest with you, they're sick and tired of it. So they started buying stock options on the other side to drive the stock up to punish those people, right? Now, the real question is does the SEC start to actually regulate some of the hedge funds so they're not leveraged and they can't do this stuff in the future, or do they go after these people, right? The answer is probably a little bit of both, but I definitely am a little concerned that they just go after these folks that are manipulating GameStop now and not the hedge funds, because the real problem when you look back at like 2008, a lot of the problem was so many people were so leveraged. That's how the Great Depression started. The stock market will never go down. It'll never go down. Well, then they started to allow people to borrow money on top of borrowing money to be able to buy stocks. And when it blows up the other way, you can leverage it up. But when you leverage it down, it really gets hurt.
Isn't that, I mean, I'm using a word that's thrown around a lot now, but isn't that kind of like censorship of the market? Like if you can dictate what's going to go on, I mean, you can censor the small buyer, I guess we'll call it, instead of the hedge fund.
And some of that's okay. I mean, it's an exchange, right? So it's supposed to be an exchange of ideas. ideas and value, right? I like this company, so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to pitch you on it, right? That's what Wall Street's always been about. But when you start to get into borrowing money that you don't have to be able to buy securities, that's where it becomes, to me, a no-no, right? And the other part of it is when you're borrowing securities to short something, you know, it's supposed to be an exchange where I bring my value there, and if my value's not doing so well, you can sell my stock, but you shouldn't be able to pile on 7 times over to put me out of business, right?
Is this as big of a deal as they were saying all yesterday on the news and through, Dave Portnoy? I mean, is this a major thing that can cause a lot of destruction in the market?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to cause volatility, right? But here's the thing. I don't like to say destruction. I always say volatility because at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to, are companies making money? Are they a good buy? Do I want to be an owner of that company, or do I not want to be an owner of the company? And volatility can be your friend if you're rebalancing. But I will say it's now more important than ever to buy good stuff. If you look at these companies that they're doing it with, like GameStop, it hasn't made money, I don't think, ever, right? So it's you got to own good stuff. I really believe that, and not get caught up in some of that. And if you do, it's got to be a very small percentage of your portfolio so you don't get hurt.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. Like the things we always espouse to our clients is, listen, there are some sophisticated things you can do in trading in the markets, but you got to be careful. You really should have a team, a specialist around you, a team of specialists like we have with our group.
A team that can help guide you away from some of that stuff.
Right. Because the emotion of it can get really exciting. Like, boy, you see these people making millions and millions of dollars only to then lose the millions and millions and beyond.
Yeah.
And not only the value of those positions, but also all that debt they took on, now they can't pay it back.
That's right.
You really do have to be careful. Don't get too wrapped up in all the excitement of it. You can stay interested in it, but if you're going to be committed to actually holding stocks and trading and buying and things like that, you really do have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Where do you see the markets heading now under Biden? I mean,
I think in the short,
stuff,
since he's been in office, the markets have sucked, right? But the markets will, so people will say, oh my gosh, then let's sell. Well, no, the markets will find a bottom. What the markets are doing right now is it's pricing in a few things. Number one is Biden's climate control garbage. And if you listen to Joe Biden, he sounds a lot like Andrew Cuomo over the last bunch of years, right? So when I think of Joe Biden's plan, I'm thinking New York State. I'm thinking windmills that don't work. I'm thinking solar panel companies and green energy companies that we're going to give billions of our tax dollars to, which will end up as vacant warehouses, right? The bankrupt solar companies and wasted tax dollars. And that's what the stock market is pricing in right now. It's pricing in some of that stuff. It's also pricing in the fact that he just wiped out 70,000 pipeline jobs, right? Union pipeline jobs, right? And it's also pricing in higher fuel prices. Now, it's funny because when Biden got into office and his partner there, they talked about, getting rid of, almost in a sense, trying to get rid of ExxonMobil and these dirty companies, right? Wall Street is smart enough to know that the opposite is going to happen. We talked about this before where, the fear is that, oh my gosh, I'm doing really well and Biden's going to wipe out my company. No, your company will probably be fine. It will be the smaller companies that will have a hard time getting into the industry, right? But you started to see ExxonMobil go higher. Fuel prices will go higher. The reason the stock market's going down is because that's a tax on the poor and the middle class. Look, the fact of the matter is we do extremely well and well enough where if gas prices doubled, it's not changing our lifestyle, right? But I'll tell you what, you're a struggling, family, 25 years old, you had a baby or two, and you're trying to start your own company, and now your fuel prices double. Guess what? Especially if you're in an industry where you're traveling or driving stuff around or whatever. I mean, that is a huge tax on the poor and the middle class, and the stock market is pricing that in. It's also pricing in minimum wage now, right? So Joe's just throwing it all out on the table right here and saying, we're gonna have solar panel cars, which everybody knows is bullshit, and so fuel prices go higher, and then he wants to increase minimum wage so everybody can have. I got a buddy who owns I won't say what fast food restaurants it is, but he said they will be fully robotic within the next 2 years. So what Joe's going to do, and this is every time, we're going to increase minimum wage, but what happens is ultimately they lose jobs. The profitability of that company is going to go higher because instead of hiring 17 people, now they hire 2 to manage the robots. The robots take care of everything. The profit margins go higher. If it's a publicly traded company, which in this case it is, the franchise is, the stock's price is going to go higher. And guess who gets hurt? The poor and the middle class.
The poor. And you said the gap between the rich and the poor is just going to get wider. because
Study California.
People
Study
that have
California.
a few dollars and our investment, or in investments, not only do we use those products, but we actually own a lot of these stocks.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you could double prices, but if I own the company, I'm also going to be maybe whatever 20%, 30% up on those holdings.
Yeah,
so
well, that's what Exxon's starting to move now, and what's happening is they're thinking, with higher fuel prices, we're going to have more flexibility, right? How much easier it is to hide an extra quarter when the fuel prices go from 2 to 4? Easy, right? So that's and you study California. California's got 17% homelessness problem right now, right? But they also have some of the biggest billionaires in the world. These folks, by the way, like Elon Musk, who he's a genius, but he's also a dirtbag. He's taken lots and lots of government money. The owner of Facebook, right? These folks, by the way, have the ability to write a check tomorrow and give everybody a house that's poor in California. But they don't do that, right? They just get richer and richer and richer, and the poor get poorer and poorer. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people who I would say are upper middle class now in California who are getting richer and richer, right? They might have had $100,000 in the market or $200,000 in the market. Now it's $400,000. Why? Because Facebook stock went up.
Yep.
Poor got poor. Now the homeless rate went from 17 to 20, and they're still professing to help these people.
What's really mind-boggling to me is this liberal government, this mindset is punish these big corporate, bullies, they call them, and they're the ones with all the money to actually do clean energy research. They're the ones actually developing clean energy.
If you notice, though, they don't punish those people.
I would say except the ones they like. Yeah, we're going to punish it.
They say they're going to punish those people because that's what the mental midgets that vote for these Democrats believe in, right? So they say we're going to punish it. They're not punishing anybody. You know what they're punishing? The middle class who voted conservatively, the small business owner. Look at who they destroyed over the last 12 months with zero apologies. Zero.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah.
Walmart did better. Amazon did better. Apple did better. You owned a restaurant. You owned a gym. You owned a salon. They don't care. They don't give a crap.
Right.
They're not fighting for anybody. The whole area, there's two people fighting in Western New York, Stefan Mihailu and DiPietro. Maybe Rob Ord. He's been coming out now. But other than that, every one of them are hiding.
But that's what's amazing. Those people you just named, gyms and restaurants, that's a major majority of our population are those small businesses, not just the owners, but the workers
not
too.
Publicly traded, not big. They don't have big enough tax bank accounts to write checks to the Democrats. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that people don't see it, though. That's what I struggle with at times. And
no, it's sad.
I just want to go into gas one more time. I mean, you think the prices over time here will double? You think that's?
Oh yeah, I think they will. Absolutely. I think the more they do this climate garbage that has not been proven to work, and I'm not anti-climate or anti-different solutions to be able to drive automobiles. I'm a free market capitalist. I believe that if you come out with a car that is cost effective for me, that I don't have to put gas in and it runs good, I'll buy it. But the fact of the matter is, when you come out with solar panels that cost $70,000 for a roof that would cost $7,000, that's just not practical, right? There's not a break even when my fuel bill or my electric bill is $70 a month. That doesn't make sense to me, right? So those things don't make sense. And now we're finding out that most of those things that they did create, now that they're being thrown out, are actually more hazardous to the environment than just putting on a regular roof.
Yeah. I want to just one more topic, if we could. Locally, statewide, we just heard that 50% more deaths probably occurred in nursing homes because of COVID. Now, Letitia James, is it?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
She's coming out with this, and you had said she might want to become governor. Sounds like she probably will want to become governor.
Getting nasty in the Democrat Party.
It's getting nasty.
Tear it up.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Tear it up.
I wonder, do you think there's even an inkling of a chance that we can get a Cuomo, even get a James if she wants to become governor? I don't think it's going to get much better with a Letitia James.
Yeah, no.
But is there any chance we can get someone that has some common sense, a more conservative-minded governor in New York State?
No. It's 4-1 now, 5-1. The people leaving are the most mobile people on earth, and those are the people that are conservative, that built their own companies, that are sick and tired of paying the taxes. The liberal Democrats that are very, very wealthy will stay here because they're getting money from the government. If you follow the money trail, you'll notice that they got some of the government contracts, and they're okay with paying their 10% tax because they got 75% on the other side of it. I just don't see it happening. And the shame of it is that geographically, the state is very conservative. I think the way to win, though, is you have to start winning your local governments back. You have to start winning the school boards. You have to start winning the municipalities, and you have to eventually, I think Erie County can flip for sure. I think, people are sick and tired of Marky Mark and, him skating and shutting down the skate rinks. But I do think there's power in that. I think if somebody ran with a set of stones and said, we're not paying these bills anymore in New York State, they may end up in jail for a few days, but I think they'd be a local hero for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we're going to wrap. We really appreciate you doing this. The after show, you just hosted our regular Saturday 1 to 3 p.m. The Financial Guys on the Financial Guys Radio Network. You can find it all over the place now. Yep. We appreciate this. And we're going to be back next week, folks. Yep. On behalf of Mike Sperrazza, Mike Lomas, I'm Mike Hoeflich. Thanks for tuning in. And keep listening, folks. You can find us everywhere, The Financial Guys. Check out our podcast. We have a new podcast, TFG Truth. Mike and Glenn, the Financial Guys podcast. It's just a raving success. Lots of audience out there now. Tune in, tell your friends, tell your family. You got to tune in. We're really trying to keep everyone grounded into the things that really make a difference and keep you sort of feeling like, hey, there is a fighting chance. We all have to band together and do this.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
Yeah.
So thanks. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.